Let's get the latest from the world of business. We're joined by our business editor, Kate Moody. Kate, the US Congress has been deadlocked for months over another stimulus plan, but there are signs of progress, it would appear.
Yes, a compromise proposal has been put forth by a bipartisan group of lawmakers. They're looking to really split the difference between the Democrats' $2.2 trillion plan and the Republicans' $500 billion bill. Now, this is a $908 billion relief package, and it's being framed as an emergency relief measure rather than stimulus itself. The draft would include more aid for small businesses, airlines, and state and local governments, as well as a scaled back but extended supplement to unemployment benefits. It does not include direct stimulus checks for American families. Now, talks on a deal broke down well before the election, and there are still really stark divisions on a longer-term strategy here. There is no assurance that this bipartisan bill would be able to pass either the Democratic-controlled House of Representatives or the Republican Senate. In fact, the Senate leader Mitch McConnell has shot down the proposal. But it does really underscore that just a month after the U.S. election, some lawmakers are really looking to move on from the hyper-partisan divisions that have characterized the last few months and bring some good news to their constituents before the Christmas break and before the arrival of the Biden administration. Take a listen.
We recognize that families all across America are struggling, that businesses are closing, that hospitals are overwhelmed.
It's not the time for political brinkmanship. You'll not see any of that here today on this stage. And we're going to intend to move this forward after months of failing to act for one reason or another.
Okay, so Kate, just going back to you, I mean, the stakes are high, aren't they? Because millions of people could lose unemployment benefits in a matter of weeks at the end of the year.
Yeah, the emergency programs that were enacted back in March extend the period of time for which people that were put out of work by the pandemic can claim benefits. And it also extends that coverage to independent or gig economy workers who aren't usually eligible for unemployment benefits in the U.S. Now, those measures do expire on December the 31st, and as many as 12 million people could lose financial support altogether. The U.S. labor market has been gradually strengthening since the peak of the pandemic, but this underscores the real depth of the current jobs crisis, which economists warn could last for some time. Now, separately, the heads of the U.S. Treasury and Federal Reserve are continuing their own spat about emergency lending programs, which also expire at the end of December. Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin, who's part of the Trump administration, refused to extend those lending programs last month, saying that he believed they were no longer needed. The U.S. economy was getting stronger. Jerome Powell, who's head of the Independent Central Bank, says that small and medium-sized businesses risk further damage if they can't access those funds. The ongoing lending programs are crucial to maintaining the pace of recovery in the U.S. economy. It's a rare public split among these two high-profile men, both of them testifying on Capitol Hill earlier today, defending their respective positions, but throwing some cautious support behind that bipartisan proposal that we heard earlier.
Okay, thanks for that, Kate. And just lastly, the President-elect of the United States, Joe Biden, has revealed the identity of a few more members of his team of economic advisors. What more do we know?
Well, no matter what is agreed upon Capitol Hill or not by the end of this year, we know that repairing the U.S. economy is going to be one of the top priorities for this incoming administration. Joe Biden has been speaking alongside his nominee to replace Mnuchin at the head of the Treasury. It's the former Fed chief, Janet Yellen. He also introduced some other key members of his team of economic advisors. It's a diverse group that includes a lot of women and minorities. Adewale Adeyemo could become the first Black deputy Treasury Secretary. Neera Tanden could be the first woman of color to lead the Office of Budget and of Management and Budget. Both of those are positions that would have to be confirmed by the Senate. Many of the people that were announced as part of Biden's economic team are very familiar faces. While we saw Donald Trump drawing on political neophytes directly from the world of business, many of Biden's team did serve under the Obama administration. Janet Yellen, whose tenure at the head of the Fed was actually cut short by Donald Trump, said that this Tuesday that she would devote herself to rebuilding the American dream. She said urgent action is really needed to address what she described as the tragedy of economic crises brought on by this pandemic. And in particular, she said she would really focus on making the recovery, making sure that the recovery reaches everybody in the United States, noting that the pandemic has really had a disproportionate effect on the most needy.
Okay, thank you very much indeed for that update. Our business editor, Kate Moody. Thank you very much indeed. That's it from me. I'll be back in 3 minutes. Don't go away.